They built 12 commercial buildings on land that didn't even belong to them, and I let them. I watched as bulldozers rolled in, workers hammered steel frames, and trucks poured concrete, all on my property. People told me to stop it, but I had a better plan, because sometimes the sweetest revenge is letting them dig their own foundation on your land. You clicked this video wondering if that title's real. Yes, it is. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why the entire HOA board went silent when I finally walked into their ribbon-cutting ceremony, holding the original property deed in my hand. It started 3 years ago. I'd inherited a piece of land from my late grandfather, just outside the town where I grew up. About 5 acres, legally recorded, taxes paid, nothing fancy, but it was ours. Then one morning, I got a letter from the homeowners association of a newly developed community nearby. It said my vacant lot had been rezoned for shared commercial use and that I needed to sign the transfer documents immediately. Transfer documents for land I owned. I called their office, and the woman on the phone, clearly reading from a script, said, "Sir, this is all handled by the HOA's development committee. You'll be compensated once construction begins." Compensated? They were talking like this was already decided, so I drove down to the site. And sure enough, there were orange markers all across my property, bulldozers idling. When I confronted the project manager, he smirked and said, "You're welcome to talk to the HOA president. But trust me, this is already approved." That day, something clicked inside me. I realized they thought I was powerless, that I'd just roll over. So I went home and decided to let them think exactly that. For months, I said nothing. They kept building, first one structure, then 2, then 12. Every time I drove by, I'd smile, because behind the scenes, I'd already gone to the county land records office, and what I found made my blood boil. The HOA had filed paperwork using an outdated map, one that excluded a few parcels, including mine. Their approval was based on an incorrect plat, and no one had double-checked ownership, because they thought it was all community property. Legally, they had built 12 commercial buildings, cafes, offices, even a small grocery store, all on my private land. So I did what any smart man with patience would do. I waited until the project was completely finished. I paid my taxes quietly. I stayed off the radar. And when they finally announced the grand opening, with local news and ribbon-cutting ceremonies, I printed copies of every legal document, every land record, and the original deed signed by my grandfather. It was time. The grand opening was a big deal. Red carpets, balloons, cameras, HOA executives smiling and shaking hands. I walked in wearing a simple gray suit, nothing fancy. I waited until the president began his speech about the community's progress. Then I stepped forward. "Excuse me," I said calmly, "before you thank everyone for building on this land, maybe you should thank the person who actually owns it." The crowd went silent. I held up the original property deed. One of the board members laughed nervously. "Sir, this must be a mistake." "Oh, it's not," I said, handing him a folder. "You built 12 commercial buildings on private property that's been in my family since 1963. And here's the county record proving it." You could feel the air leave the room. The president's smile vanished. He looked at the documents, flipped through them, and turned pale. Within seconds, the city zoning official confirmed it. Everything they'd built was illegally constructed on private land. Reporters started whispering. Cameras turned toward me. The HOA's lawyer rushed over, asking to discuss a settlement. But I wasn't done. "Oh, I'll settle," I said. "Just not today. For now, I'd like everyone here to know that every dollar earned from these 12 buildings now legally belongs to me." And then I walked out. In the months that followed, the HOA tried everything, lawsuits, negotiation, even hush money. But I had one thing they didn't: proof. Their entire board resigned within weeks. The development company went bankrupt, trying to undo the damage. And me? I leased those buildings back to the same businesses they'd built, at market rate. Every month, rent checks arrived from buildings the HOA thought they owned. Easiest revenge I've ever had. But this story isn't just about money or payback. It's about patience, about knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, because sometimes fighting back doesn't mean stopping the storm. It means letting the storm destroy itself, while you keep your foundation solid, and when the dust settles, you step forward, holding the deed, the truth and the last word. So the next time someone tries to take what's yours, remember this: let them build their empire on your land, and when the time is right, remind them who actually owns the ground beneath their feet. Moral of this story: revenge doesn't always need fire or fury. Sometimes it just needs a signature, a smile, and perfect timing.